Hey y'all, so today I wanted to just go through some of my bullet journals and talk a little bit about how my system has changed. So I used like blank spiral, like 5-star notebooks from the store, or like just little notebooks for years before I got into like any type of Japanese paper, but this is a B6 Slim Midori MD. And I know I went through 2 or 3 of these notebooks at this time. This was in 2018, and I just don't know where they are. I know I threw away a lot of journals, but I think this was the first one. So this was my first, or it's 2019, so it must have been my second one. But this, I'll just do a quick little flip. It was very bullet journal style. I had the calendar layout. I had all these blank spreads that I never used, but I tabbed up a few of the spreads that I wanted to look at. So I had some monthly calendars that I did ahead of time. There's lots of blank pages, but then this is how my weeklies look like. So I just had a week at a glance, and I had big reference information. So it's really interesting. This is like one of the first notebook planner things I used that wasn't like a planner or a spiral notebook from Target. And what's so fascinating to me is that I have this week at a glance and then like a to-do list. Same layout as a hobonichi weeks, the same layout that I'm doing right now, but just a quick flip of these spreads. And this was mostly at school, so I was working, this time I was in school and I was working part-time. This was like a speech I had to memorize. But yeah, I just think it's fascinating that in one of my first bullet journals, like the layout that worked for me then is the layout that is still the most functional to me right now. Yeah, like I said, I find that really, really interesting. And then I had pages ripped out of here, another calendar, some more things, and these notebooks would last me like 6 months. Like I said, I went through a few of them, and then it's funny here in the back, I just have like a pen test page. So this Midori MD, I've used a lot of these notebooks. I just kind of have fallen out of this like yellow cream paper. It's not my favorite anymore. It's always good. It's been good, even like I beat this notebook up. You see there's like highlighter marks, the stitching's falling apart, but it's still holding together. I know one of the ones I had, the spine ended up breaking, but yeah, that was the first one. So it was after I used that, I was like, okay, I need more dates, I need more structure. So I started using a happy planner, and this was like a student happy planner from Target in like 2018, and this is just what the weekly spreads looked like. So I used this for a little bit. As you can see, it's really thin, so I threw away all the used pages, and this is just blank paper I ended up using later, or sometimes I still use it for notes pages, or I pull it out for somebody. But there's that. After that, I think I went to this A6 journal. So this is what really made me fall in love with the A6 size. I got some A6 covers, but this is kind of how it started. And then I was mostly just started off using this as a journal. So I have just pictures in here, a little bit of goal setting, and then just a bunch of journaling pictures. And then later on is when I drew out this little calendar. And then I started doing this weekly, and I continued this bullet journal. And then once I finished the Stalogy, I started doing the same thing in a Midori MD A6 size, and then that one's thrown away somewhere. All of my books that were just planning, except for that first Midori, I've thrown away. This one I keep because there's journaling in here, but any notebooks that were strictly planning without much memory keeping, I end up tossing those out. I just don't have the space to keep them. I don't have the desire to keep them. Anything commonplace in there, oh, these were some printables. Anything commonplace that's in there, I just kind of ended up throwing away. So some more dailies, and this was just planning mixed with journaling. This is what really worked for me. I had a few more A6s after this. So like I said, I used a Midori MD. After the Midori MD, I ended up getting this hobonichi, and this was my first hobonichi after like the first A6 hobonichi I had. And I was using most of it for journaling, but I had a little bit of planning. I was testing out this vertical style layout, and then I had the horizontal layout, because I was thinking of getting a cousin with the vertical layout. I was just obviously on a smaller scale, and or the Wonderland like 222 A6. So I just had some planning and journaling in here. Now, I think the timeline is a little bit out of order. But then, so then I had I had two hobonichi cousins, a spring start 2020 and a spring start 2021. And then I after the hobonichis, I was like, okay, I'm over this, I'm over the daily page. So I tried a Leuchtturm, and I was like, okay, I can do the A5 size because I just did the A5 with the hobonichi. And in the beginning of most of my notebooks, I've ended up doing like stickers or collaging. So this is just stuff that I collected throughout the year. This I probably did in the beginning. It says healing isn't linear. And like I said, this is an A5 Leuchtturm 1917. This was my first time using a Leuchtturm. I used Moleskines and stuff, but I didn't love it. And I was kind of, like I said, I was using this after I used my hobonichi cousin. I have some tabbed off pages here. So I just had the months. It was very hobonichi cousin style. Some weeklies, some more monthlies, and then here I had a work calendar, and then my weeklies continued. And then it just kind of kept going. I had some journaling here, another tracker I never used, a little vision board. I had a book tracker. As you can see, it's like a common theme. I have book trackers in a lot of my books. Do I ever use them? No. But more journaling, more dailies, just daily to-do lists. And this kind of just kept going. There was a lot of journaling in this book, some Bible study. More dailies, to-do lists, dailies, notes, and that's just kind of how I kept going. I had always some type of weekly reference. I had my monthly reference. This was another layout I tried, and I kind of just got really tired of this. More notes, and the book just kept going like this. Like I had more scheduling, dailies, and journaling, with my weeklies mixed in. So how I use my notebooks really hasn't changed, but I hate how dark this grid is. Like if we compare, I have a Stalogy right here. Like this paper is lighter, obviously, than more cream than this yellow paper, but the grid is just so faint and light. I love grid paper. As you can see, all of my notebooks have been mostly grid, but this was just so dark. Even if I compare it to the Midori MD, but basically, as I go back through these bullet journals, what I realize is the same layouts have always worked for me. So whenever I've experimented with something else, whenever I experiment with a dated planner, a vertical layout, it doesn't work for me. And like I act like I don't know myself, but I also bullet journal just in a disc bound. This is the Tool Office Max disc bound. Some covers. This is just some vellum that I punched, and I use a lot of disc bound for school. So it was like, oh, natural, like I can just put a planning sheet in one of my school notebooks. Oh, that would be great and wonderful. And it worked out, but I just don't love writing over the rings. And something about pages like being removable, whether it's discs or rings, makes it feel so like temporary. I feel like I can't really journal, and it ends up just being a to-do list. And like I said, all of my just planners, just to-do list style planners, I end up throwing away. So I just had some notes in here, and then I was using this, like I said, as a normal bullet journal. And it was nice to have the flexibility of like taking pages in and out. But all that I ended up learning was that it's temporary, it feels temporary, and I love this as like a binder style. I use a disc bound for my reference information, but having it, like I have some stickers back here, but having it like this as a bullet journal, I didn't want to write stuff down because I could just take it out and throw it away. So like, what was the point? But this is really pretty. I have this still set up. I have a lot of reference information even in this book that I'm not showing, so I used to just use this, like I said, as a blank notebook. Then when I went back to college, I was like, okay, I need more structure. I can't do my bullet journal. Well, actually, no. What really happened was I used this Leuchtturm. Then after I was kind of done with this, there's like this much paper in the back. I was like, I hate this paper. I'm not doing it. I don't want to use it. I don't want to write. I don't have anything to write. It was also like one of the worst times in my life, and I just had no interest in like journaling about any of it. Like it all sucked. So after I used this Leuchtturm, this was summer of last year, I was like, okay, I need something new. So I got this Stalogy, and I love Stalogies. It was 8.5. So the only reason I went to this 8.5 is because I used it for a cousin for 2 years. As we can see, before then, I had all smaller books. So this was like this. So then I was like, oh, for sure, like 8.5 is perfect. I'll have a lot of space to organize my university things. And it started off like that. I, as usual, collected things in the front. Let's see, the first page I tabbed, this was just some goals. This was a little vision board. And then, okay, we're ignoring that. And then I just drew out these monthlies. And I was really enjoying, like, I really enjoy the process of setting notebooks like this up. I had this, so yeah, this was June of last year, just bullet journal style, more calendars, trackers, half filled out, space for an August calendar that never happened, some dailies, and then I finally started, I love this paper. I was using the whole brown, the same brown theme that I had in the Leuchtturm. I loved how it looked, and I started playing with weekly layouts again. So this is similar to the take a note, or the take a note, where it's like 2 days on one page. Some more notes, and then here I had another weekly style here, commonplace and sermon notes right here that I wanted to show. Then this was like, okay, I'm starting university, I need to figure this out. Had my work schedule on here, had some notes. I thought this was cute. I was like, oh, I color coded my like college schedule, but these were like how my dailies looked like. So very, very similar to a cousin. As you can see, like after I used the Hobonichi cousin for 2 years, all of my books were kind of influenced by that. I really went to the like day per page. And then it was like a month into school and I stopped using it. It was so hard for me to keep up with this. Like, as you can see, it literally went from being these like more pretty lettered like cohesive days to just notes like this, because I was just so busy. I was working full-time and I was trying to fit school into all of that. Taking care of my siblings, you know, driving them to be able to pick them up from school, drive them to practice, wait at soccer practice, wait at dance practice, all this stuff. So I was just so busy. And this whole section of the book, like, this is where I stopped using it. This was like receipts from my first week in Chicago, but I had a few more dailies, and then November I stopped using it. So this is actually when I went to my passport TN. I went back to the blank pages I had in my A6. I played around with this layout and I ended up purchasing the Hobonichi weeks for 2023, but this was the end of 2022, and all of this paper now was what was originally left blank. I have notes in here. These are Bible study notes that I do, so I'm finishing up using this notebook, but I just started from the back because I love this. The green, oh, it's gorgeous. And then back here I have some cards, and then I just have different post-its of scriptures I used to have around my wall, and like quotes and stuff that I had in my room. So I just have this here, and it's very like reminiscent of the time that I was going through. But so I was like, okay, I need something. This is too big for me. It's too heavy, it's bulky, I'm not carrying this with me all the time. I don't even want to open it. It felt so like, oh, I missed my leather covers, I missed the fun. So what I learned, oh, so this was like, okay, it's not working for me. So when something undated wasn't working for me, drawing out my spreads wasn't working for me, that's when I purchased this this happy planner. And I was like, okay, like it's gonna keep me organized. I know I like disc bound. I use it for my school notes. So this is what my weeks began to look like. And I was like, I did the vertical weekly in A5 cousin, I can do it again. Literally, this was like the 3rd year in a row I was using a vertical weekly, not liking it, not sticking with it, and wondering what's the problem. It took me until this year to realize that I don't really think well in a vertical weekly. And I just kept going, which is hilarious to me. But I have some notes pages. I'm not really getting rid of this. I have some school notes in here. I like some of these prompts that the Happy Planner has, and I like having it here for me for when I do. Eventually, I feel like I'm going to have some need for this or go back to it. This was like a Franken planner. It was 3 Happy Planners mixed together. It's like a lot of my friends were using them, so we were all sharing pages. But I know from here and from all this time bullet journaling, so let me put them all back in frame. So I have these disc bounds, the Stalogy, my Leuchtturm, and all my little, keep in mind, like I said, there was more of these Midoris, there was more A6 notebooks, and then I have my 2021 cousin, and I also had the 2020 spring cousin. So from all of these notebooks, oh, I even missed another Happy Planner. So what did I learn? Now that I've done a flip through of all these, what did I really learn from them? And this is what it comes down to. I made a list. I learned that I need freedom to journal, and I need the space to do that without it being inconvenient, without it being in another book, to journal and to memory keep. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Secondly, I learned I need plenty of space for to-do lists outside of my normal task. Well, look, and all this information I literally could have gotten from the first bullet journal before I was influenced by anybody. I was doing simple weeklies, and then I had space in between to write out big lists. I have grocery lists in here, I have meal plans in here, I have lots of stuff in here. So I need the freedom and the space to do what I want when I need it. Otherwise, if it's not there, it's not accessible, I'm not going to do it. The second thing I learned is size really matters, because at certain points in my life, the hobonichi was great. The hobonichi was perfect. It was A5. I didn't matter that it was heavy, it was thick. It was just that season of my life. So, but then once I was done using the hobonichis, this Leuchtturm and this Stalogy was just too thick and too much work. I learned that I like being in bound books. I also, not even shown here, I had like an A6 ring planner and a pocket ring planner too. Oh my gosh. But I learned that being in ring planners, although it can be very organized and there's flexibility in, oh, removing pages, you're not scared to mess up, you're not going to miss empty blank pages in between. Although the functionality of that in theory is very nice for me, in action, it feels temporary. I don't like journaling. I don't want to put stickers down. I don't want to decorate because of how temporary it feels. The other thing that I learned throughout all of this, especially this notebook where it was mostly just journaling in the beginning, I like to have journaling separate because that feels very real to me, while I can have just a to-do list in here that I could just toss this book. But as much as I like that, like I said, in theory, it doesn't happen in real life. Like, this planning was coinciding with this journaling happening here, and because it was all in one book, that's why all of it got done. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm not running away from it anymore. I need the freedom in my system to do whatever. So as much, even though for next year, after all of this, I was using a hobonichi weeks because I needed the dated. So I know right now I need the dated, but I need the dated in something simple with a lot of freedom, like this. I can't go back to using a big happy planner like this with the weekly structures for you. Even if we look at the cousin, like a weekly spread like this, like the structure, yes, it's very flexible, but I know that I don't like vertical weeklies. I don't use them functionally, and this is just too heavy, too bulky. I can't take it anywhere with me. So hopefully, I know I've just been rambling. I don't really know what my point was with this video. I think the thing I wanted to share was I love a blank notebook. Like, making my own setup, doing what I gotta do, getting all my stuff done is all I need. And these notebooks, like I said, there's lots of notebooks and journals that I have that I've thrown away. I've thrown away one of my old cousins. And then there's certain things like this that I keep that I know could be functional for me at some point. So the biggest takeaway I want this video to have is do what works for you. And for me, it was sitting down and going through these books that really helped me kind of calm myself down, be like, okay, what do I really need? What do I need out of my system? What has worked for me before? And also letting go of things. Like, even I love this cousin. Sometimes I love having a big A5 Stalogy or a cousin page, a big page to do whatever I want. Sometimes I love having something just so cute and small that fits in my hands. Other times I like having something that I can organize. I have all these tabs in here, all these things, and I love that too. But just because I like all of the things and I can really use anything doesn't mean it's what's working best for me at this season of my life. So I know I love my disc bounds, and I'm sure I'll have a reason to go back to them soon. I love my A5 Stalogy, and even though it hasn't worked, I'm utilizing this gorgeous notebook for other things right now. So yeah, I'm so sorry. I've been all over the place. I think my intention for this video was to start off kind of just flipping through my notebooks and talking about what I've learned. I don't think I've done that in a very organized manner, but I don't know. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.